Welcome back guys to a brand new tutorial. This is the complete beginner's guide to ZBrush, brought to you by Sculpture for Life. And I'm your host, Alexander Thompson. And before we getting started, I'm just gonna let you know about a new community that I just created for Sculpture for Life's community. So now we are on Discord. So I'm gonna leave a link down in the description where you can meet other artists like yourself. So please feel free to join that. And otherwise, let's begin. Alright guys, so yeah, let's get started. So the first thing is just to double click on this sphere here. You can open any project, but I'm gonna use the sphere. So I'm just gonna double click it. Then here we can see the sphere, right? But to begin with, I just wanna teach you guys how to navigate within ZBrush. So to navigate, to rotate, you can just right click on the side like so. And you can see that it's rotating. Maybe not seeing too much right now, but it's actually rotating. But let's just draw a line here. You can see it's actually rotating. So right click. And then to move like this, hold down Alt plus right click. So like this. And when I mean right click, you need to hold down right click. Something like this. And then to zoom like this, that's a little bit more tricky. But just hold down Alt, right click, and then remove Alt, and you can zoom. Super useful. It's a little bit tricky, but you will get used to it. Let's just repeat it one more time. Alt, right click, release Alt, and you can zoom. Alright guys, that's very like important that you know this. This is the like beginning, right? So yeah, let's go to the next thing. I just want to talk to you guys real quick. If you like lose the object like this, like that, and you can't see it, you see it's lost. You can probably see it if you really look carefully enough, but if this is the case, just press F for framing. That will frame the object and you will be right back. Alright, but as in any software, it's super important that you know how to save. So to save within ZBrush, File, Save As, and then save it where you want it. I'm gonna save it under ZBrush Beginner's Guide. Just name it to Beginner Guide 1, and I'm gonna save. And if you want to save it a little bit more easily, you can just press Ctrl S, like in most softwares, Ctrl S. Super simple, but super useful, right? So yeah, that's what just about saving. Now we're gonna go to the next one. That is all about move, scale, and rotate. You can, of course, there are 3 different hotkeys to use this, but I'm just using one. So I'm just gonna tell you guys about this one like hotkey, and that's W, like so. Then you get this little menu here, as you can see. To scale, it's like these more like square looking shapes, you can see here. And to rotate, you just drag on the sides like this. Can use this one as well. And then to move, use the arrows or just these arrows here on the side and you can move. Yeah, I have symmetry on, so that's why it becomes this like weird mess right here. But yeah, I hope you understand what I mean. Yeah, so let's just talk about Madcaps. So the really like important thing here is that you're not using, you can use the default one, but I'm using basic material. I do not really get too technical with my Madcaps. I'm just using the one I know that works, and that's this one. So I'm gonna be using this, and I recommend you guys to do so. Okay, now to a little bit more exciting stage, right? Let's talk about brushes. Okay, so for the brush menu, this menu here, you can press this here to see all of the different brushes. Okay, there are a lot more than this, but this is a lot of the brushes. Super cool. Yeah, I know, it can be overwhelming, but don't be overwhelmed, because you're only gonna need to use a few of these brushes. In most cases, of course. So, to get this menu up, where the hotkey for it is B, you get this menu. And I'm going to be using mostly 6 different brushes. I'm going to show you these brushes, and I'm going to tell you the hotkeys while I'm using them. So let's just begin with Move Brush. Move Brush hotkey is B, M, V. Yeah, so then here up here, you can change the size of the brush. Or you can just press S for like draw size. Right here, you can change the size. And with this brush, you can just move the proportions. Like so. Super simple. Nothing too complicated, right? So just moving the proportions. Then just moving it inwards like this. Yeah, not too complicated, right? So, yeah. Let's just go to the next brush. That's Clay Buildup brush. B, C, B is the hotkey for that, and with this, you can draw like this. But you can see that it's only going outwards, right? To invert the brush, you can either press up here, that's subdivide, or not subdivide, subtract, I mean, or add. We're gonna use subtract, but I do not wanna use this button up here. So I'm just gonna hold down Alt. That's gonna do the same thing. Subtract. You can see this looks horrifyingly like better now. We can't really show the other brushes on this, so I'm just gonna bring it back with Control Z. Bring it back, because we have this timeline up here. That's the timeline of your sculpture, of the progress you have made. Alright? You can see up here. Yeah, so it can save up to 10,000 steps. But those files becomes really big really quickly, and it's called undo. So like you can undo 10,000 steps, but it becomes really heavy for your machine. Okay, the next brush is the standard brush. This brush, the standard brush for using ZBrush, or like most basic brush. Okay, you can see here, it just creates very basic shapes, like so, and the same thing with Alt goes inwards. As you can see, super basic. And the hotkey for this was B, S, T. So B, S, T. And then we're gonna use a brush called Damn Standard brush. And that's BDS. BDS. Alright? And this brush is gonna carve in like this. Carve really nice patterns and like wrinkles and stuff like that. And if you hold down Alt, of course, it's gonna go outwards. Then you get this cool pattern like this. Maybe like, yeah, you can see it can create real cool patterns and stuff like that. Really useful. Then we also have the Trim Dynamic brush, BTD. And this is used to create planes. One of the most important things, if you ask me, is to create a lot of planes and make it work. So this brush is the one I most commonly uses for it. You can see it just creates planes real quickly, and with Alt it usually go like that. Really strange, I know, but you can like move it outwards a little bit like so if you would like. Okay, and now we also have the smooth brush. you can see here, the smooth brush, if you hold down shift, you see you have the smooth brush. Then you can just smooth out. Alright? So super simple, just to smooth out like so. Super useful, super great, perfect. Alright? Okay, now let's go into the next stage. Now we talked a little bit simply about like brushes, but you can also change the alpha of the brush. So here you can see really square, right? But if you press here and press alpha 06, one of the most common alphas I use. I also use alpha 28 here and alpha off. Those three alphas is the most common one I use. So I'm going to use alpha 06. Something like this. And you can see this gets a lot softer result. Looks a lot more organic, as you can see. And then if you go to alpha off, it's even softer. Super soft. So that's the three different alphas I uses. Like, it's a lot of variation within them, and that's really helpful. Alright! Should we maybe begin a little bit of sculpting? So, yeah, to toggle on and off symmetry, you just press X. So now I can sculpt without symmetry, and if I press X, again, I sculpt with symmetry. As you could see there. And then we also have this problem. You may be like sculpting a while on this side, and you forgot about the symmetry, so you've done all of these amazing details here. You can see amazing details, right? This is terrible, okay? But you understand the idea. You want the same to be on the other side, right? So then you can go to the menu here. Here's where you find all your stuff. A lot of useful stuff here, alright? So, under Geometry, Modify Topology, Mirror and Wield. Ta-da! I can see it's mirrored. But what if you wanted to mirror this side and not this side? You see it only mirrors from the right side, right? I mean from the left side. I'm a little bit confused, sorry guys. From the left side. Yeah, so if you want to do that, we're gonna go further down here to Deformation. And press Mirror here. It mirrors it. And then go up to under Geometry and Mirror and Wield. So it's a little bit of a longer process, but it can save you a lot of time. Alright. So you're just gonna smooth this out with holding down the shift key, like so. Then we're gonna go to the next stage. That's masking. Masking, alright. To mask something like this, just press down Control plus left click. So you can like mask it like this. And X for symmetry. I guess gonna have the symmetry on again. Something like that. Alright, and then to subtract from the mask, then it's Control Alt and left click. So just to add a mask, Control and left click, and to subtract a mask, Control Alt and left click. Small difference, right? And to remove the mask, Control drag outside like this. It will remove the mask. And now I'm just gonna undo that because I want the mask to be left. So Control Z. And to go forward one step, Control Shift Z. As you can see. Like so. Alright, now we're gonna have, let's invert the mask. Yeah, because let's say like this, you have something here that you want to like keep, you don't want to have to go and mask around this and mask everything. You don't have time for that, right? This is the only thing you want to keep. Then you just gonna mask this out like this and just invert it. And to invert a mask, you just control and you just click outside of the subtool like this, like that. This, just click like this. See, and it just inverts the mask. Really, really easy, really, really helpful. Something like that. Alright, and then we have special masks. If you hold down Control, you see here the mask menu, press that. You can see here there are a lot of different types of masks. I'm mostly using mask lasso. And if you Control click and drag outside like this, you can create cool looking patterns and really mask out really simply what you want. And of course, if you're holding down Alt while you're doing this, you see it's creating this like super cool like subtraction of the mask. Okay, just gonna tell you guys about one more feature before we're going down to a little bit about some other stuff. Alright, so Control Shift, this is like Control Shift, we can drag this out. You see, whatever this screen touches is gonna stay. And because I have a symmetry on, it's gonna do the same on the other side. As you can see. Something like that, right? And this within here is hidden. So Control Shift and click outside to make it all come back, to unhide it. But if you instead want to invert it, just Control Shift and drag outside. And you have inverted it. And this can be really helpful. Like this. You just want to sculpt here. I want all these super details here. And then something like that. Sharp, crisp, and I have the details. Or maybe I just want to focus here. I have a huge sculpture. I have the ear here. So I just want to focus on the ear and do not want to focus on anything else. So I'm just going to focus on the ear right here. You see, I'm making a beautiful ear, right? Yeah, so that's just the basic idea, you know? Super basic. Then we have Dynamesh, ZBrush, and Subdivision level, right? Okay, so Dynamesh, you will find that under Geometry and Dynamesh. Here you can see Dynamesh. If we press this down here, you can see what it is doing. Dynamesh. Okay, if we sculpt something with the like clay buildup here, gonna go really like weird with all of this like faces here. You can see it looks really weird, right? So if we then use Dynamesh, as you can see, just fills it in with more faces. And if we then just smooth it out, you can see, super useful. And a hotkey for Dynamesh, make sure that this Dynamesh button here is like enabled, because otherwise it's not gonna work. Control, drag outside, like so. Just gonna show you a little bit better, like so. As you can see, Control, drag outside. Perfect. Alright. And to like ZBrush, we have right here. Here we have the ZBrush. Press this button right here. You can see it just simplifies your topology a lot. And ZBrush is hidden right here. Here we have Dynamesh, as we talked about before, and here we have ZBrush. So ZBrush has a lot of different like stuff you can do. You can half, and it makes it like divide it by half the polygons. and faces, and it wants it to be more simple, and double it or adapt, and the computer is gonna guess how much you want. Or right here you can just target the more you want to target. Alright, you can drag here and it's gonna make it more and more or less and less. And one more thing about Dynamesh, resolution. With resolution, if you drag it up or drag it down, you can change how much resolution it is. You see, I can get way too much resolution, like this. And you can really go in here now and like sculpt all the details and make it really nice. You see, just gonna sculpt up something like this maybe, and just huge like scary mouth, and we have a hand here, a mouth, something like that, right? Super scary. Yeah, I know, it looks terrifyingly scary. It's gonna be a ghost or something, I don't know. Yeah, so that's like really useful, but be careful with how much you use, because if you use too much, it's gonna... Okay. If we use like a lot on some machines, you see here now, it's a lot, 3 million faces, it can actually break some machines, so the program will crash. And you do not want to use Dynamesh for everything. It's way better go down a bit and then use what we call subdivisions. Right here, if you scroll up above Dynamesh, all the way up here, and you press geometry, you press divide, you can see it just added a lot more faces, but it added it in a controllable way, and you can see right here, guys, if you want to go up and down, you can drag this right here. See, less, more, okay? Or you can just press D to go up and Shift D to go down in subdivision levels. Super simple, but it's super useful. And some more useful thing with this is you can like sculpt like this, like here, makes it all of this amazing detail, right? Amazing. And then go down, and you can just change the proportions. You may be thinking like, no, this proportion weren't so good, I want it more like this. That's way easier to change when it's less faces than when it's more. So you can go in between and just change it very easily. It's a very useful way of sculpting. Alright, that was basically what I wanted to say about Dynamesh, ZBrush, and subdivision levels. Let's go down to layers. Layers is really useful. You scroll down here to layers. You can see this plus here that says new. Press new, and then if you sculpt something like this, go like crazy like this, something like this, and you see, I don't really like that, but then you have sculpted this amazing hand afterwards, you have a problem, right? Really don't want to erase all this, right? So you have sculpted all of this, and you sculpted this weird stuff here. And if you toggle between here, press first this button, record button, turn it off, and then the eye here. You press that, you can see it goes on and off. You can scroll it and decide how much of it you want. We will maybe want something like this. Then if you press the record button, you can record again and you can make changes. Then when you press it off, it's going to be like this. And to create a new layer, new, and then press record if you want to start, which record you want to start. And yeah, basic layers, just you have the opportunity to change and make like regrets afterwards. So let's give you an example. Here you're sculpting like these different bumps, and then you also sculpt this on another layer. Then you can say, yeah, I don't like the bumps, but I like this nice like texture here. So then I just remove the bumps instead of having to go in here and removing them like this, and it's not going to be as nice, right? See, very, very useful. And then when you are happy with your layers, you can bake all. That will delete all layers but bake them as they are, like this. Super useful, right? Alright. Alright, okay. Let's go to subtools. You can see here, before we go to subtools, we're gonna give him some eyes. So now we wanna add some eyes, right? So go to subtool, up here, subtool, then append. You can append any subtool. I'm gonna append a sphere, and we go to W, and here we can, as we said before, change all of this, scale it, and just put it in the right position, something like that. And now we can mirror and wield it. That's under geometry, modify topology, mirror and wield. Then you see it's not symmetry right now, so press X for symmetry, and then you can like create this eye shape, and you can see it now got eyes. And this is really useful that you can create different subtools. Of course, you can do all the same things with this subtool. All the things we've just talked about, like masking and all stuff. And then, if you want, you maybe say, oh cool, I now have like 2 eyes, but I want to have 4. Because why wouldn't you want that? Okay, but to change the subtool, if we have the eye here, hold down Alt and left click on the desired subtool, like so. See? And we change the subtool. So now we could sculpt here, and then if you want new eyes, Control, Shift, and D to duplicate that subtool, and then you can just drag it down where you want it. Something like that. Yeah, that was basically what I have to show you guys in this video. We're gonna do another episode of this where we actually sculpt a very, very basic kind of like creature, a very, very basic creature, where I'm gonna show you how to use this in more like a working way, in a more cohesive way, how to make a workflow out of it. Alright guys, but thank you guys for watching. Don't forget about the like new community group, and other words, why do I always say words? Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Bye!